The boss that's bigger than Bowser has spoken, and he has some objectives for Switch Year 2. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Gabe is here, and our favorite Nintendo man, or maybe second favorite, depending on where we want to rank Reggie, Kimishima, has stated in a recent interview that there's a couple of things Nintendo really needs to do to have a great second year, and his list is kind of interesting, and I wanted to share it with all of you and see what you think. Gabe, I know that you think his list is a little concerning.
Yeah, I mean, not super concerning, but I personally don't like the things he says. But he's the president of Nintendo. They're going to do what they're going to do, and it's not surprising necessarily. I just kind of wish it wasn't the case, but we should probably read the list first.
Let's read this dang list. Tatsumi Kimishima's list for what the Switch needs to do to be successful in Year 2. In order to be playable in the long term, the second year is crucial. Our task is to add more users, including people who barely touch game consoles. Nintendo has to expand the game library, take in new players, and raise the Switch as a game console with long lifespan. Kimishima believes overall worldwide momentum for Switch is rivaling the Wii. Nintendo has reached most early adopters because they really like Nintendo's games. Nintendo's games are focused on the family demographic. In the Switch's future, different sorts of genres will be covered by third parties to help expand the system's user base. If Nintendo doesn't think of new ways to play, the Switch momentum could stop due to competition from other hardware creators. There is a possibility in the future that the method to deliver surprises to customers may change, which is very interesting. And then to equalize earnings, it's always important to maintain unique ideas.
Right. So, a lot of the sentiment that he has here is like casual. Right? He says that he wants people who barely touch game consoles to get into Switch. To me, that's, I don't know if it's troubling, but the Wii had a lot of super family-friendly, like, shovelware. And I'd hate to Switch to just be inundated with things like that. So, I mean, that's the only thing. Other than that, everything else he says, makes good sense. I don't mind it too much. I guess just the casual nature of what he envisions Year 2 to be is troubling. And I also don't like that they're going to rely on third party to bring like different genres, and Nintendo's going to stay family friendly. I wish Nintendo did some things that weren't so family friendly, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if he necessarily means that the other genres are mature rated genres. I just think that, to me, I took that as them covering the spectrum of gaming to try to expand into more of a mainstream console. The takeaways for me here are, yeah, Nintendo is very interested in the casual still, which I think is, as you mentioned, dangerous. That is what, garnered them great success with the Wii, but ended up being a major problem and something that I feel that initially they tried to do the opposite of with the Switch. So why they would want to swim that way again, not really sure. I guess eventually if you feel like you've tapped out your gamer base, then yes, but they definitely haven't. 10 million, 15 million, that's not even close. I do think it's interesting about new ways to play and a different method to deliver surprises. How do you interpret that?
Virtual console. No, I mean, part of me thinks that the new method to deliver surprises, I feel like that could be like a subscription-based thing, which, there's been hints that that's what Virtual Console could become. New ways to play, I don't know, dude. That beats me. I have no idea. But Nintendo does try to innovate, but the console is what the console is. It's a hybrid. I don't know how else you're going to change it. Does that mean new controls? I mean, who knows? But yeah, that to me isn't as worrisome. I'm excited for new ways to play. New ways to play are great. And, deliver surprises to customers. The way they do it may change. That also, I take no issue with that. I look forward to that stuff. I think it'll be great. It's just, again, the casual nature of stuff. That's the only thing I worry about. And if they don't push towards that too much, then I think we're great. Like, we're in fantastic shape.
Absolutely. I mean, new ways to play, does that mean new controllers? Does that mean, we just discussed no 4K, no VR, so it doesn't mean that. I also think it's interesting that he mentions that there will be competition from other hardware creators, but I guess you could read this as the inverse in that the Switch is a new way to play, and if they emphasize that, it keeps them separate from Sony, Microsoft, and the traditional, game and hardware developers and makers. The different method to deliver surprises, do you think that's a hint of going more online, going more digital, having more of a, maybe it does lead into the subscription service that, Virtual Console seems to have become?
I think that's what he has to be talking about, just with the Nintendo Online thing launching at some point this year. Even if it did get pushed back, it's coming out this year. We know for a fact that that's going to come with at least a game, an NES game of some kind with upgraded, for online and things like that. So maybe I think that's what he's referring to, because I can't possibly think of anything else unless they go and add online to like GameCube games. Like that would be insane. But I don't think that's happening either. It's just impossible to guess because they're so smart over there and they do things so differently that they're one of the people that it's hard to try to figure out where they're going next. Like with Xbox and PlayStation, we can see where they're going next. Next consoles, 4K, 60 FPS, and more powerful, more polygons on screen. Like it's pretty predictable. With Nintendo, they're a little bit more hard to keep track of, I think.
Yeah, and I guess within this console, how creative can they be? And that's where his comment of our task is to add more users, including people who barely touch game consoles, is concerning.
What do you think about this? Do you remember all the peripherals with the Wii? Like there was a ton. Like the tennis rackets and what was the name of that Tony Hawk game that had like a skateboard?
Tony Hawk Ride?
Yeah, like stuff like that on a Wii. Like a ton of peripherals. Those are new ways to play. I hope that's not what he means here. Like a bunch of like cheap plastic peripherals to play your games. Like, please no.
Bringing back the freaking balance board.
Oh man, the Wii Vitality sensor. R.I.P. You remember that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I do wonder if this kind of ties in that idea that they dove into mobile gaming, and that's kind of their way to introduce Nintendo franchises to more of a mainstream, and maybe they bring some of that Switch side.
It's possible, but I would love to hear from the people watching this video. What do you think Kimishima means by these things? You guys are very insightful sometimes, and you guys mention things that we don't even think of. So I can't wait to see the comments on this one and see what people think that they could possibly mean.
Yeah, let us know how you interpret some of Kimishima's statements for year 2 and what you think Nintendo needs to do in year 2. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and from this wondrous president who is either number 1 or number 2 on the Nintendo totem pole.
He's 3.
You guys, oh God,
he's 3.
Who's number 1, Gabe?
Reggie.
And number 2?
I don't know if we want to count him, but if we do.
Bill Trennan?
No, Miyamoto. If he counts. I don't know if he does.
All right. Okay. It's like more like executives.
Oh, okay.
But...
Sure.
All right. Let us know your favorite executive in the comments down below. Thanks so much for joining us today for myself and Gabe. Switch Force out.